Very good afternoon, students. Welcome to prestigious Focus C or IIT NEET Foundation program by Krishnaveni Talent Schools and Mastermind Schools. So once again, I welcome all the class 9 students of Dulapalli branch, Mastermind CCAL, and Mastermind Indresam branch so far for today's session. As you all can see on the screen, and you are well aware, my subject is physics. We are in class 9th, our ongoing second chapter, vectors, and today we are entered to the session number 4. Means so far we discussed 3 classes in understanding the vectors and types of vectors and how the vectors are classified from physical quantities, right? So what we learn in 3 sessions is, first we learn about on what parameters physical quantities are classified into vectors and scalars. And out of that, what is vector? How many types of vectors are there? We learn under 2 synopses, right? So we learn under 2 synopses about the later. These are the 2 important synopses we covered. So before going for the next concept, like addition of vectors, subtraction of vectors, or different laws are there to explain about this addition and subtraction. Before going that, today we'll have the complete review of the 2 synopses, and followed by we'll solve the worksheets based on these particular 2 concepts, right? Okay. So before that, remember a reminder for you about the test 2. We have the second test, IIT test, is scheduled on 27, as it is 24, 26 only, but 26 is holiday. So exam date is 27 August, that is on Tuesday. Papers already dispatched to the branches. Immediately after receiving the papers, you conduct the exam on Tuesday, right? With well preparation. As student is getting 2 days holidays, ask them to prepare well as per the given target syllabus. That is what we covered in the week is the syllabus only. So make the test 2 successful, right? Okay, we'll move forward what we learned till now in the last 3 sessions. So we started with the classification of scalars and vectors. Already first is that only. The topic name itself is a vector. How vector came? It comes from the physical quantity. The physical quantities which have both magnitude and direction. Both have magnitude and direction are called vector quantities, like velocity, acceleration, density, volume, all these will come, right? So we have seen what is the difference. The scalars are only magnitude, no direction. Vectors are having both magnitude and direction, right? So when you are taken the mathematical operations of scalar quantities, they always gives the resultant is scalar only. But in case when vector quantities are added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided, the result may be vector or sometimes scalar also. Very interesting. So there is a separate branch in mathematics for the vectors called vector algebra, where you learn about everything about the addition, subtraction, multiplication of different methods of vector quantities, right? But right now we are discussing only about their terms. After knowing about scalars and vectors, we enter to the types of vectors, right? In last class, we discussed about the various types of vectors with perfect diagrams, perfect pictures, which clearly makes us to understand what is the types of vectors. See, like vectors or parallel vectors. So whenever 2 or more vectors travel in same direction, magnitude may be different. You can see here. What is magnitude? So magnitude is nothing but length of the tail. Arrow is the direction. This is direction. This is magnitude. See, the magnitude is more here when compared to this. But they are moving in same direction. As they are moving in same direction, they are called like vectors or parallel vectors. Right? Whereas second case, you can see both are different magnitude, different direction, opposite direction. So they are called unlike vectors or anti-parallel vectors. Got it or not? So if two or more vectors travels in same direction, irrespective of their magnitude, then they are called either like vectors or parallel vectors. If two or more vectors of different magnitude or same magnitude, if they travel in opposite direction, then they are called unlike vectors or anti-parallel vectors. Okay. Next, you can see very interesting co-initial vector. Co-initial. If two or more vectors starting from co-initial, initial means initial point is same. They are starting from same point and moving in the different direction. See here, there are four vectors are there. All are starting from O. All are starting from O and traveling in a different directions. Such vectors which have same initial point and origin are called co-initial vectors. Right? Origin is same. Whereas co-terminal vectors, opposite to that, their origin is somewhere, but they are coming and meeting at the same destination. Terminal is same. Ending point is same. If starting point is same, they are called co-linear, co-initial. If ending point is same, they are called co-terminal vectors. See how interesting and how simple the explanation is with the diagrams. Right? Hope you are all written this one in last class. After this, after knowing about these are four vectors, next comes negative vector. So, what is negative? Negative possibility is there in vectors. It is not possible in scalars. Why? Because in scalars, no direction. In vectors, when they travel in opposite direction, have same magnitude are equal, but direction is different. See, their magnitudes are same here. This is the magnitude. Have same magnitude, right? But directions are opposite. If it is A, it is minus A dash minus, that is minus J dash. That is the difference. Equal vectors, their magnitude is same, direction is same. See, A and B are there. Their magnitude is also same, their direction is also same. Then they are called equal vectors. Both direction and magnitude are same. Then coplanar. They are on same. So many vectors can be on same plane. So they are same plane or parallel planes. So these are parallel planes, 1, 2, 1, 2. These are parallel to each other. Right? So in between that, there is so many vectors are there. The vectors which are lying on same plane or parallel planes are called coplanar vector. Collinear means along same direction. See here, A is up to here. At the end of the A, again B started. Again C will start. Again D will start. This is called collinear, along the same direction, along same line, straight line. They are called collinear. Unit vector, whose magnitude is 1, whose magnitude is 0 is called zero vector, whose magnitude is 1 is called unit vector. Other than 0, anything are called proper vectors. Whose magnitude is not equal to 0 are called proper vectors. So these are the total 11 types of vectors are there. Okay, 11 types of vectors which we come across and which are gone through with a wonderful explanation. So before going for our worksheet for today, I'll show you one video related to types of vectors. Right? Just see the video. Later we go for our worksheet. Okay.
Vector? That's right. Previously, we had seen that a vector is a quantity that has magnitude as well as direction. For example, let's say an object is displaced from a point A to a point B, which is 3 meters away from it, in a direction 20 degrees east of north. So here, the displacement of the object is a vector quantity. The magnitude of the displacement vector here is 3 meters and its direction is 20 degrees east of north. As we saw earlier, we can represent a vector by an arrow. So the displacement vector is represented by an arrow with its initial point as A and its terminal point as B. It's denoted like this with an arrow above the letters. Or we can also denote it by a single letter like this. The length of the arrow represents the magnitude of the displacement vector, which is denoted like this. And the direction of the arrowhead represents the direction of the vector.
Very important point.
So we see that we can
See here, length of the arrow represent magnitude. This is the length. And head of the arrow represent the direction. Okay. You can note this very important point. Basic point.
represent a vector in general by an arrow. Now here are a few vectors on the screen with different magnitudes and directions. Notice that these vectors are parallel to each other, while these vectors have a common initial point. Now, obviously a question arises in our mind. Can we compare two vectors? Or when can we say that two vectors are equal to each other? In this video, we will understand this and we'll also look at different types of vectors. First, let's consider these vectors. We can see that they all have a common initial point O. Two or more vectors having the same initial point are called co-initial vectors. So here, vectors OM, ON and OL are all co-initial vectors. Now consider these vectors. Here, they're all parallel to each other, or we can say that they are parallel to this line. If two or more vectors are parallel to the same line, even though they have different magnitudes and directions, they are called collinear vectors. Thus, all these vectors are collinear vectors. Now consider vector AB and vector CD. They both are directed in the same direction and have the same magnitude. So we can say that vector AB is equal to vector CD. Two vectors are said to be equal if they have the same magnitude and direction regardless of the position of the initial points. Notice this important point. It tells us that it's insignificant where the initial points of the vectors are if they're equal to each other. So according to this, we can move a vector parallel to its position without affecting its magnitude and direction. For example, we can make two copies of vector AB by moving it parallelly in this direction or moving it in the same direction like this. Here, all the three vectors will be equal to each other. Such vectors are called free vectors. That is, parallel displacement of vectors gives us equivalent vectors.
New word.
One advantage of this is that it makes it easier to compare two vectors. Now consider the vectors AB, RS and UV. Let's move them parallel to their positions without affecting their magnitudes and directions such that they originate from a single point. Can you see? Now it's much easier to compare the directions and the magnitudes of these vectors with respect to each other. Now let me ask you a question. What will be the negative of a vector? For example, let's take the vector CD here. We know a vector is defined by two things. Its magnitude, that is its strength, and its direction. So the negative of the vector CD is a vector which has the same magnitude as that of CD, and its direction is opposite to that of CD. So vector DC will be the negative of the vector CD, and it's denoted like this. Also notice that vector EF will be the negative of vector CD. Yes, the magnitude of vector EF is the same as that of vector CD. And it's directed in the opposite direction to that of vector CD. So vector EF will be the negative of vector CD. Thus, we saw here when are two vectors equal to each other, and also what's the negative of a vector. Now, can you tell me if we can add two vectors?
That would
Does this seem possible to you?
Okay, that we'll see in the next class because we doesn't have.
We will see this
about the addition of vectors. We'll learn in the next class. But before that, so this is our textbook, page number 38. You can see, right? So page number 38. So we have the worksheet with level 1. Worksheet level 1, which is based on what topic we covered. That is about scalars, about types of vectors. These are the two topics we covered. We are not covered at this one addition. So level 1, there are 4 questions are given based on what we covered so far. 2 synopses, right? So when you see first, so let me first explain this, then later you can note down in the notebook. So distance is a, distance is a scalar quantity because it does not have any direction. Distance have only magnitude, no direction, right? Correct or not? Next, uniform speed is a, what is speed? Speed itself is a scalar quantity. So uniform speed also a scalar. Whether the body is moving with any constant speed also, as there is no direction, because speed is equal to distance by time. So we are defining the speed in terms of distance, so it comes under scalar. Next, questions based on types of vectors, what we discussed, right? So a vector of 0 magnitude is called either 0 vector, it is also called null vector. 0 vector or null vector. Null vector is also, 0 vector is also called null vector. Null means 0. Okay. So a vector of 0 magnitude is called either null vector or 0 vector. Question number 4. Question number 4. Any vector of non-zero magnitude, that is I told 11th one, that is proper vector. Any vector with non-zero, if magnitude is not 0, it is called proper vector, right? So note down the 4 questions. You write the question and write answer in bracket. No need to write options. No need to write options. Right? Distance is a, in brackets, scalar quantity. Uniform speed is a, in brackets, scalar. A vector of 0 magnitude is called in brackets null vector or 0 vector. Any vector of non-zero magnitude is in brackets proper vector. Question and answer right. Okay, first. After we go for level 2, any questions are there based on this, we'll see. Fast. Done all of you? 4 questions? Okay. So I'm moving forward after 4 questions. Next, I'll go to level 2. Right? In level 2, again, some more questions are given based on scalar, vector, and types of vectors. You have to cover all these things, right? See, approximately there are up to here only. 19th. Right? 11 to 19th questions you have to cover. Okay? That is level 2. You can write as level 2, little more standard maybe. Okay? Now it's 11th question. In level 2, question number 11, you can check. What is the question given? Just a minute. Which of the following units could be associated with the scalar quantity? So answer is this. I will tell how. I'll do one thing, you can solve everything. So what is there here? Different quantities are there. Kg, meter, second. Newton, kg, second. Kg, meter per second square. So when you face this quantity, I'll check, I'll do this one, remaining you can try. Kg S by m minus 3 is there, you can write m cube, numerator, denominator. M cube, second square means t square. So what is kg? Mass. By meter cube means volume. T square means time square. Just I'm expanding. So what is mass by volume? Mass by volume is nothing but density. So the quantity is density by time square. So density is a scalar quantity. So automatically it's become a scalar quantity. Right? So you can write for this also same like this. Mass by meter per second velocity. Velocity is a vector quantity. Okay? So answer is kg meter minus 3 s minus 2. Explanation is given in the key also for you. Surface area. Surface area means no doubt it is a scalar. There is no specific direction for area. It expands in any direction. Okay? Surface area is the scalar quantity. Which of the following is a scalar quantity? Very interesting. The most important bit this is work. Because we know work is equal to force into displacement. Both force is a vector quantity, displacement also vector quantity. But resultant is a scalar quantity. Dot product will come across later when you are learning about the products multiplication of vectors. So work is a scalar quantity out of the other 3. Now vectors are there. Next question. Which of the following is a vector quantity? So weight. Weight have particular direction. Weight is nothing but show some direction. So hence it is a neither work is a scalar quantity, only distance are scalar quantity, area also scalar. Just now we have seen. So only weight is a vector quantity. The set containing only vector quantities. Set means 2 are there, 2 vector. So we have force and acceleration. Velocity is a vector quantity, pressure is not a vector quantity. Displacement is vector quantity, but time is a scalar quantity. Energy is a scalar quantity, but force is a vector quantity. Here only 2 vector quantities are only force and acceleration. Paid. Okay. So note all these 4 questions, 5 questions before going for the types. Right. So first one is this, second one is scalar, third one is work, fourth one is weight, and fifth one is. So write down these 5 also. So like that, there are different levels are there. You need to practice them at home, and I'll try to give you the task also based on that. Okay. If you want any solutions for any problem, you get doubt, you can contact with your teacher. We already provided the solution for all entire textbook. Wherever we require the solution, we provided. Okay. Wherever you require solution, provided for you. Right. So write the question and answer. Please maintain proper notebook, all of you. And for classwork as well as again the task work also, you can write in notebook and take the signatures from your teachers and your parents. Right, so we'll continue the same in next class. What we are doing now, we have to add some more concepts to learn in this chapter, like addition of vectors, subtraction of vectors, and various laws are there to explain about the addition of vectors and subtractions, right? But before that, what we discussed till now, everybody clear? We discussed about the basic difference between the vectors and scalars, right? After knowing about clarity about the scalars and vectors, then we focus on vectors because vector is the quantity having both magnitude and direction and have importance even in mathematics also under the separate branch called vector algebra. So in vectors, we have discussed about the various types of vectors. How many types of vectors are there, right? And with the different even diagram, ray diagram, we explained for them and we understood the complete concepts. And based on that, we have done level 1 and level 2 few problems on the 3 topics, that is scalars, vectors, and types of vectors. So when you come in next class, we'll go for some more concepts on this and we'll move forward. Before that, you all focus on the examination to be conducted on Tuesday. Syllabus, what we covered so far in this particular chapter. Okay. And for today's, that is only practice problem DPP. Practice the worksheets levels. After going home, if you have any doubt, clarification, you can take the check with the key. You check with key. And if you have anything doubts, you can clarify with your teachers or text me during the class. Right. So that's all for today, students. Thank you, all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.